Good morning, Shine Campus. Welcome to our coffee hangout. Hope everybody's doing well. So, with the holidays, I want to keep on this theme about like figuring out how do we experience something else? How do we make sure that we get to the places that we need to? One of the more challenging things, I think, especially at this moment or during this season, it becomes more salient that, man, I'm having a hard time being happy. And so, what do I need to do in order to do that? Well, part of this is understanding a little bit more about what happiness is. That's kind of the start because in the definition of it, you start realizing that there's actually more to it and there's more possibilities for you. So let's define happiness. Happiness, for me, and the way that I work with um, it is the outcome or the experience that happens whenever we feel goodness, um, when we feel goodness based on the things around us. And so happiness is something that comes from the outside. I've talked about this before. My youngest one, the happiness that I feel in the moments of his laughter um, and his good experiences, or just overall like his energy, kind of brings that scenario. And so that's a sense of happiness. What is more than happiness? And I think that we could use them a little bit interchangeably, but for the most part, we want to be able to separate them out and understand that one is the basis for the other. So, what's bigger than happiness to me is joy. And I think joy, the reason that joy is bigger is because joy you have more control over. Happiness depends on how things are going on outside of you. And joy is something that you can always have and gives you the ability to have more happiness in your life. All right, so here we are, like we've added more to our ability to um, get in, get into spaces that are happy spaces. Well, there's still the question of like, how do I actually get there? Well, in order for us to establish joy inside of our bodies, there has to be a different kind of look. And so, if we're intertwined with everything that's going on outside of us, like for instance, if something constantly brought me happiness, that means that same something can take away my happiness, right? But if I can focus on all the processes that I'm doing and celebrate as that I'm doing the processes, like as a father for me, and your role will be different, but as a father for me, some of the things that I've been able to accomplish as a father in my own personality and my own work, those kinds of things or that kind of focus gives us a sense of joy. And in that sense, you'll have the ability to experience happiness a lot longer, for a lot longer periods of time and more often, right? And so that becomes a really important factor for us. Um, so, what's going to actually make sure that our experiences are pleasant? How do we do that? Well, the truth is that we don't really have the ability to create pleasant or unpleasant experiences, absolutely. But the more we are peaceful on the inside, the more that we are focused on who we're being, the things that we're creating in our life, then we start getting to that point inside of us that says, "Here's joy, and here's an opportunity for me to experience goodness." All right. So the other piece that I think happens is a lot of times we get stuck in situations where we're like, "Man, I don't think I could ever be happy in this situation." And while that might be, part of the truth, the idea is that maybe a person or a relationship that you're in, or even a situation going on, maybe as parent child, you can say like, yeah, my child's just not where they need to be. My partner is just not where they need to be, and I can't be happy with that. And while that is going to be the truth, it's your growth that you're going to focus on in those moments. It's your opportunities to be loving that's going to focus on, you're going to focus on in those moments. And overall, and this is probably one of our biggest keys, it's really about the service and the giving that you're going to do in those moments. And so The switch over for us being able to go from experiencing hardship to experiencing happiness or joy is the idea that we're willing to serve or have that in our mind more than we're aware of the hard thing that the other person or the other people or the other situations are doing. If we can be more aware of that, we're going to be in a good space. Okay. So your challenge is on to do a couple of things here. If we could just recap on those a little bit. So one is to be able to celebrate whatever process that you're going through. If you could stay focused on that and be able to celebrate that scenario instead of being worried about like, man, did I get to the end spot? Did I already win? Is it, did I accomplish the thing that I set out to accomplish? Like, if you're always focused on that, you're going to drop your experience of happiness. Okay. And so you got to flip it over. And in the process, you need to be able to celebrate, like, man, this was goodness. These are the things that I actually, like that I was able to do. And then the second thing is being able to be more worried about how people are serving you or how things are coming towards you. Um, be less worried about that and be more worried about the idea of how am I serving other people? What am I doing to um, change this situation around? And what do I need to keep giving? And I think it's interesting how it happens because if we're focused more on that scenario, what happens in that scenario? Well, I start loving, right? And if I start loving, love is the ultimate change agent. Me being focused on what the next situation is that that person's going to do gets me to focus more on how do I defend myself or what do I need to do to get their behavior to be different. And it gets to be a frustrating experience because we're so powerless to actually changing somebody else, and so it ends up in frustration. Well, the flip um, is what gives us the advantage in our hearts is, how do I serve this person? And that's a me question. That's not I'm going to watch them and find out what they're going to do first. It's more of I'm focused on what do I need to do to make sure that I'm serving the people who are around me and being able to love them. And as we're able to focus on that, our love goes up, right? And if our love is going up, then that softens or gives the other person the ability to be a lot more soft in their life, than just keep their defenses up, right? And so that's not a guarantee, and you can't go to start loving somebody and be like Thomas said that if I'm loving you, that you're going to be soft, and now you should be. If it's your child, you should be a good child now. That's not how it works. It needs to be a way of being for us in order for that to actually change. And so your challenge is to focus on celebrating the process pieces that you have going on. Your challenge is to be able to focus on the service that you're providing, and allow that to be something that you keep looking at versus what somebody else is giving you. And I think as you do those two things, you're going to experience a lot of joy in your heart, which gives you the ability to see more opportunities of happiness. There are always both in life. And so this would probably be the cap of all of it. Like in life, there's going to be things that can make us happy and things that can make us upset or feel bad. Right. And if we're going to stay in the emotional state of happiness longer, we need to have a foundation of joy. And that foundation of joy gives us the ability to focus on the things in life that will bring us happiness. Okay. So, if you can turn those things around, if you're able to focus on those two things, I think it's going to go a long way for you being able to get to where you need to be to, especially around this time, right? The holidays brings real opportunity for us to give a lot more, to serve a lot more, um, to be focused in the right processes, right? And so put those on your plate this week and for the rest of the season and see what you get. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Enjoy your day.